So the first thing, if I had distilled water, would be to add something to it to satisfy that hunger that it has so it can begin its maturation process. It needs to be in the dark and it needs to be cold because that's how water matures itself. Water from the hydrological cycle will sink itself deep into the ground, clean itself on the way down through carbon deposits, through roots and silts, find itself really deep in the bedrock, and then pick up all the mineralogy it needs before it levitates its way back to the surface. So you need to sort of find a strategy to recreate that. So you distill your water. That's sort of like it's been evaporated off the surface of the earth. You condense it in your distiller machine back into water. That's like it's rained back down. Now it needs to be mineralized, go into the dark, cold, incubate, and probably be spun as much as you can to begin to restructure it again. Because it's completely lost its structure, and when you put it into your body, the cells don't really know how to deal with that. It's really unstructured, and the cells are looking for that hexagonally structured water that's been vortex cooled and incubated.
How long is the incubation process?
All waters are different, so sometimes it's thousands. The spring I was just talking about in Manitou was 20,000 years it's been under the ground. So it can be weeks, months, years, eons of time, and there's water underground that's still underground from the beginning.
What are the implications of drinking tap water in our culture?
I call it tap liquid because I don't really think it's fit to be called water anymore. One of the problems with tap liquid is that it's been forced through high-pressure pipes, and the pressurization takes the structure apart. Water's structure is super delicate, and all of these atoms are coming together, all these molecules are coming together in this really delicate structure. As soon as you push it through a filter or a high-pressure pipe, it's scattered and dispersed, and it begins to heat up, and there's friction along those pipes. That water then has chlorine added to it. There's toilet paper particulate and tampon particulate and all of the other fluoridation, all these things. When you put that in your body, the cells don't really know what to do with it. It tends to store itself in the interstitial spaces of all the tissues of the body. It begins to create edema. The cells can't really uptake it, so you can keep drinking it, but you still develop chronic dehydration, plus fluoridosis, plus it wipes out your intestinal bacteria because it contains chlorine. So the implications of it are pretty damaging. I definitely don't think of it as water myself.
How about bathing or showering in that kind of water?
Yeah, in my shower in the other room there, I have a carbon shower filter, which I think is a definite must if you've got municipal water. A lot of people, I live here in Maine, a lot of people have well water, so they're not really dealing with that. They are getting water out of the ground. It's still premature water because a hole's been punched into the aquifer to get that water out. It's not water that's coming to the surface of its own accord like a spring, but it's still really good water. So they don't really need to filter it. They've got a natural water already. If you're on municipal water, understand that your water system in a city or a town is like a giant circulatory system that the town's created. Water is moving through pipes and then back to recycling centers and back and back and back again. So the water coming out of your faucet may have been somebody else's urine and somebody else's feces. All that water is being recycled and cleaned and put back into the system, and it's coming from aquifers into pipe systems that are broken down all over the United States. That's one of the issues we're dealing with in this country is we built a massive water infrastructure that's now collapsing, and most towns and cities don't have the money to actually fix that. So a lot of water is being lost, pipes are rusting, so all this stuff is being picked up and brought through the pipes, if that makes sense, and then down through your shower in a high heat temperature, which volatilizes all of the chlorine and creates a chloroform gas. So it's kind of like being in the Nuremberg kind of shower situation where you're in a shower full of a toxic chlorine gas, getting hit with usually a hard water that's under high pressure, which strips the oils out of your skin. If you just simply put a carbon shower filter on there, that reduces that significantly. And then I have a big donut-shaped magnet over mine, and I'm amazed at how much that helps, actually. It really softens the water for me.
This has been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, this is probably information that every person in the world needs to know about, but most people don't. Do you have any other insights that you'd like to share about things that we need to know about water and how to preserve the water we do have?
This is what I want to say about water is that we have sayings in our culture. I believe our language usually reflects the truth even if we don't hear what we're saying. And one of the things that we say is we know that environmentally, psychologically, socially, we have all these problems that we're dealing with. And what we always say is that we're looking for a solution to problems. And what a solution is something suspended in water. A solution is water with something dissolved in it. And so we're looking for a solution, or we're looking to solve the problem. And solve means to add water to something until it's dissolved into it. So we know that we're looking for the solution, and we're like, where's the solution? And it is water. The problem with our culture is a fire problem. We're using the combustion engine. We're creating global warming. People are dying of inflammation. People are always sick with fevers and high temperatures. The whole planet's heating up because everything is plugged into electromagnetic radiation. What we call light bulbs, basically what that is that's a heat emitter. So we're heating up the whole globe. That's electrical resistance coming through that tungsten filament and releasing heat and light. And so we're filling the whole planet up with heat right now. And what we need is to cool things off again. And we need to move away from this high heat explosive energy into something cool. Right now what we're doing is we're digging up fossil fuels, which are dead organisms, plants, and animals that were buried and fossilized into coal or oil deposits. And we're burning them. So our whole civilization right now is running off the burned bodies of plants and animals from the past cataclysm. And that's what we're using as our energy source, which is kind of scary, almost like sci-fi. The answer to that problem, to the fire problem, is going to be water. Water is what's going to cool us off. Water is what we're made of. Water is what our whole ecosystem runs on. And you could almost begin to look at each other and at other organisms, plant and animal, as different expressions of water rather than as different beings. You really are water expressing itself as you. A dog is water expressing itself slightly differently. And water expresses itself as all the life forms that we currently know about in the whole known universe. That they are water, and our biosphere is water. And so that's the solution, and that's how we're going to solve the problem.